Looking back, this is what I realized. If you attach a purpose to what you are doing, you start enjoying, you start getting inspired, you inspire more people.
Hola Rajesh, estoy muy contenta de poder tener la oportunidad de hablar contigo, no solo porque tú eres el CEO de ManageEngine, sino porque sabemos que tú eres una persona que vive, que respira tecnología con muchísima pasión desde hace muchos años, y por eso quise empezar esta nueva serie de videos donde vamos a hablar de liderazgo, de empoderamiento en tecnología contigo, porque bueno, tú tienes una amplia trayectoria en este campo, entonces bienvenido Rajesh.
Gracias, Paula. Very happy to be here. My pleasure.
Ok, y quiero empezar con una pregunta que puede sonar un poco sencilla, pero sé que nos va a dar bastante información. Me gustaría saber, ¿por qué decidiste empezar en el ámbito tecnológico?
It's a very interesting question. I did think about it 20 years after I started working. When you are fresh out of college, all you're looking for is some opportunity, some good guidance, some good inspiration. I was very lucky when I finished college. I ended up meeting people that went on to found Zoho. Zoho became a name, a much bigger name 25 years after. Imagine in 1997, when we were 5 people, 10 people, I bumped into a set of good mentors with good vision. 20 years later, I realized I made the right call. But being a very young student then, fresh out of college, entering the industry, I cannot pinpoint one specific incident, but I was a curious student, right? So I was a student of science. I did computer science, master's in the college, so obviously attracted to that. Also the situation in India, right? So it was very conducive for you to get into science and engineering and technology and computer science. I was going with the flow. 2 years into working into the company, we were working building software for big telecommunication infrastructure, right? We were working with one of the top educational institutions in India. It's called IIT. We were working along them. A professor there would always tell us in every meeting, right? So, guys, we are going to put 100 million telephone lines in India. Imagine it was a time when we did not even have few 100,000 telephone lines in India. This is mid-1990s. He had this vision, he inspired us, right? So that sort of made me very interested. I found a purpose for what I was doing. I was writing some software, but I knew the software that I was writing is going to be used by 100 million people someday, billion people someday. Looking back, this is what I realized. If you attach a purpose to what you are doing, you start enjoying, you start getting inspired, you inspire more people.
Perfecto, Rajesh. Es impresionante escuchar toda esa trayectoria que iniciaste desde muy temprana edad en la compañía y ahora estás acá liderando. Y bueno, yo tengo una cifra muy importante y es que hoy más del 60% de los CEOs están asumiendo un rol más estratégico que técnico. Entonces, ¿qué opinas tú de este pensamiento estratégico desde ese rol de liderazgo que tienes tú actualmente?
Actually, the CEOs don't jump from the sky or don't come from the vacuum. They all start. I play the role of CEO today. I had a very similar start to anyone that came into the industry. I started from zero. You needed to understand the technology you were working on, the domain you were working on. More importantly, you had to have a clear understanding of what are your customers' problem. What do they look for as a solution? Are you able to build a very effective solution? So this is how we all get started. We do a lot of work. This gives you a deep understanding of customer problems and solutions, right? So technology is just an enabler. We all start from there, and different people have different chops. Some people are really, really good in going deep with technology. Some people are very good architecting complex systems. Some people are good evangelists. You also need good strategists, people who are able to have a vision. What's going to happen 2 years after? What should we prioritize? how we can realign the entire team to work on newer problems. So this strategic ability is very, very important. This is how people move on to take the CEO's role. So it is absolutely no surprise that the data says CEOs are more aligned strategically, because that is the role that they are expected to do. They are supposed to have a clear vision, clear strategy, and the ability to execute the strategy. So I absolutely see no surprises there. Anyone aspiring to be the CEO, this is the skill, this is the chop you actually want to work on, right?
Perfecto. Y ya que empezamos a hablar un poco de esas habilidades en tecnología que deben tener los líderes, tengo por aquí también otra cifra, y es que un estudio de Harvard Business Review nos cuenta que las empresas donde los líderes fomentan la empatía y esa participación activa de los colaboradores tienen hasta un 25% más probabilidad de que esos colaboradores se sientan satisfechos. Entonces, ya con este contexto y desde tu rol, ¿cuáles habilidades consideras que son muy importantes para los líderes para que tengan éxito en este campo?
These 4 traits I would immediately comes on top of my mind. Having a clear vision, communicating that very clearly, and also getting hands-on, doing work that inspires your colleagues, your teams. And third, how approachable you are. And finally, building this empathy, right? So for 5th point, if I may add, having a very high emotional quotient is important. It's not enough you have good knowledge, good intelligence, emotional quotient. When things go wrong, right? So things go really, really bad. There are people issues, there are business issues. How cool can you think? How can you respond in the most appropriate way also determines how successful you are as a leader. So these are 5 traits that come to my mind immediately for what could make you a good leader.
Perfecto, y este estilo de liderazgo se ve en toda la compañía, es una compañía regional, están en muchos países y ese estilo se mantiene. Y tengo aquí un dato curioso porque muchos de los CEOs actualmente son de India, entonces quisiera saber a qué se debe esto, y pues nosotros nos emocionamos mucho de ver que este país está creciendo y se está posicionando mucho en el ámbito tecnológico. Entonces, ¿tú podrías contarnos a qué se debe esto?
It's a very deep and loaded question. There is no one definitive answer to this. I'll give you my perspective, my opinion of what is happening. To start with, we as Indians are very proud. Take any big technology corporation today, there is a strong Indian leadership contingent there, right? So not just CEOs, you have a lot of senior leadership driving a lot of technology that is defining the future of humanity, so to say. So how do we explain this? So what's happened in the last 5-6 decades in India? We have placed this strong emphasis on foundational education, especially all the students, in addition to learning their mother tongue, they also have learnt English. This has given us the advantage. We can speak fluently in our mother language and also in English, along with the emphasis on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you look at people like Satya Nadella of Microsoft, Sundar Pichai of Google, these are people I look up to, very, very inspiring. They did not train themselves to be CEO materials, right? So they had a very typical middle-class Indian life. They went through the rigors of the Indian schooling and educational system. They had humble beginnings in Microsoft, in Google, respectively. After 3 decades of knowing how Microsoft works, imagine Microsoft of late 70s and early 80s, they needed to take a lot of risks. Mm-hmm. So you needed a CEO that was taking strong bets, had a lot of innovation going, a lot of practices, we know the history. But today, Microsoft is a behemoth. I would say they are one of the most influential technology company to exist ever, but the situation is not the same. In India, we always grow up with knowing how to operate with constraints. Nothing is available in abundance. There is a lot of constraints, a lot of limitations, a lot of difference in opinion. So what you need to do to thrive in India is your ability to build consensus, your ability to work with a lot of resource constraints, budget constraints. At the same time, you should also have a lot of patience, a very philosophical approach to life, all of this. PepsiCo had an Indian CEO, Indira Nooyi, who was very, very successful in taking PepsiCo to be the number one consumer product enterprise across the world. So we have many, many examples like that. And this is how I observe, I see, based on what I have seen with other companies, based on my experience with our own company, right? How we, ManageEngine, coming from India, able to compete with vendors across the world. We sell our products in 190 countries, localized to each region, each language, each culture. The answer lies there. So we are ready for this long game. We are pragmatic. We are conservative where we need to be. We take long shots. So a combination of these traits help us. And this is what corporations need. And culturally, we are able to supply to this need. And this is why you see more and more Indians climbing up to be the CEOs and top leaders in these big technology corporations across the world.
Perfecto, escuchar todo esto puede ser muy inspirador para quienes desean de pronto como tú formar una carrera en tecnología. Entonces me gustaría saber cuáles son esos consejos que le puedes dar a las personas que quieren llegar a ser líderes en este campo y cuál sería ese primer paso que deben dar.
Like I started saying, technology is a tool. Use technology as an enabler, use technology as a tool, but always keep in mind what is the broader purpose you are working on. Is the work you are doing, you and your team doing, making a good impact to your customers, to the people in the society? That is more important. If you have that perspective, you automatically develop a lot of leadership traits, right? You are not wanting to be this number one technology company in the world. You want to be this company that is making a difference to the lives of a lot of people. Right? If you take, for example, ManageEngine, we always think about how can we make life a lot more simpler, a lot more easier for our customers, who are the CIOs in many, many organizations around the world. What is their problem? Right? So in 2025, in 2026, what are the pressing problems? Do we have a good understanding of that? Are we aligning ourselves in the right way to build products, to build solutions that our customers appreciate? This is how we think. This is how leaders should think. And this is what the message I would give, because everything else would change. Your technology would change. Your business models would change. What would not change is the purpose that you have built the business for, the values with which you run your business, and how you empower your people, and how the people in your organization feel happy to work for you. These are the things that you need to focus on. Everything else will take care of themselves.
Bueno, y este año ManageEngine cumple 10 años de presencia en Latinoamérica y tú has estado muy involucrado en todo este proceso. Quisiera saber qué ha significado para ti este hito y cómo te imaginas los futuros años para ManageEngine.
We always like to celebrate milestone. We are a company that thinks really long term. We believe we are in the business to be in the business, grow the business, serve our customers. We have never thought about exiting the business, right? So selling ourselves out or going public, that's never been the intention or never been the plan. The plan always is, how can we be this truly global company building products from India? That was the founding question. So to that count, super excited that the modest start that we had in 2015, opening our office in Colombia. So it is the 10th year celebration of our presence in Colombia, but we have been doing business in Latin America for the last 18 years through our partners that we have across the Latin American region. So this is a great milestone for our presence in Latin America with our home in Colombia. We have an office here. Very soon, we'll be a team of 100. So the idea of the local presence what I'm truly excited for. When we started, we did not have real big ambitions. We just had this wish that we should be a global product company. So the idea is to serve the entire Central and South American regions, with Colombia being the base, Bogota being the base. So the next few years will be ManageEngine strengthening our technical support and solution experts speaking the local language, which means we are creating opportunity for more people from Colombia, from Latin America, to join ManageEngine, right? So in our vision, so we don't think monetarily to start with. We want to be this company that makes real positive impact. We want to be this company that enables access to good technology, right? Truly excited for this, for how far we have come. It has not been easy. It needed a lot of effort from our leadership back in India. So we have a team that takes care of the Latin American business. So they had the belief, they put in all the effort, and we see the results today. We will celebrate our customers. We will obviously celebrate our employees for the trust and the efforts that they have put in. Really hoping that we will grow positively in the coming years also in Latin America. Super excited for this.
Muchísimas gracias, Rajesh, por haber compartido con nosotros este espacio. Ha sido muy bonito escuchar toda esa trayectoria que tú has tenido en tecnología, y estoy segura que muchas personas que quieren liderar en el campo tecnológico van a tener toda esta información y van a empezar a dar esos primeros pasos. Entonces, espero verte en un próximo, de pronto, video, en una próxima oportunidad. Y bueno, te agradezco mucho.
Muchas gracias, Paula. Adiós.
Adiós.